Hey, we're gonna continue with the existential risk website project. Mm, just a minute. Okay. There's something that I wanted to try out with the layout. Like last time, I did some stuff with. I increased the distance between these different inputs. Where is this? Okay. So I gonna like increased 50% the interval like all around here between these like horizontally these areas, and the aim was to make uh, because specifically like if this would be the default view that there's only two timescales, then there's more room for the for this kind of vertical separation, um, but and there's even room to like to add this kind of thing that shows that you can add like more time scales here. Uh, Wait a minute, do I have it right? Yeah, I think I had some stuff. Okay, yeah, I've just hidden some stuff here that I had with this graph area thing. Actually, there's like one thing here at least that I should have. Yeah, I think I should have this over here. Though now I can add that and kind of like keep that gray area there. Mm, yeah. So now that I have more of this horizontal space, and I kind of feel that I'm more constrained with vertical space maybe. I was thinking of trying out something. Uh, I'm not sure if there's room for it, but I'm gonna try. So let's see, we have these new inputs here. Because there's this thing that I have, like here I have this at 2025, and I used to also have it in here above this number. Um, like here, this used to be, let's see, I don't have the old one anymore, but and then you have to make the connection. Like if you're looking at this one here, then I'm thinking like how easy it is to connect it to this. That it's maybe it's easy, but if I want to have these year numbers anyway here, then I was thinking, yeah, I'm just gonna like write it here, and maybe that explains what I've been thinking about. Like or I could, yeah, I'm gonna have it here. So thinking about I wonder if there's a way to get to show this. I'm gonna try to add in Krita actually this or in OBS if I could make this text editor in Krita visible. So let's see if how can that happen. So here let's go like that. So I could put it here because it's not so important to see this all the time. So if I have it there, and I could have it smaller, I think. Let's put it like there or something like that. So maybe it makes it a little bit easier. So I'm just trying out like how would it look like if I had this. So like 2026 to 2025. Could have it like this, and then do this. Okay, now it's just blank. If I don't have let's see, can I okay, I don't know. This doesn't, if I, like now I don't have the text editor open, so it shows this kind of white. It doesn't hide it, and it doesn't even recognize if I open a new text editor that this should be the same thing. I don't know, it is, okay, I'm gonna give up on that. So it would like make it easier if there was like next to every one of these inputs this kind of own kind of like title for it, but I'm just thinking, okay, maybe they take too much space anyway after all. Maybe I'm gonna give up on this. Like this is now, and it would be easier if I had like a second screen to use to see what's the real size. Maybe this wouldn't be too small for the like a browser. That's not quite sure. But even with this one, and I don't know if I can go a lot smaller. And other thing that I want to try out, I was thinking about moving this one to the right hand side, but now that's taking like so much space. I couldn't really Maybe I was a bit too optimistic about this, all of this space use. It would be a lot nicer if it was here, this side, and I would need to add here also like parentheses, and then I think it has to have like it has to be able to fit a lot of numbers, and I think also like it might be that there's like it's a bit too wide of a text, but it would have to fit a lot more. So okay, I'm thinking like can I move this stuff like one more step to the right, or does it take too much space then? I was like super optimistic that I could fit like both of these new things, like to have like both these labels have this kind of like explanation in front of every input, and not just like the input line, and to also have to be able to move this to the right hand side, but I don't know if I can fit like either of these, let alone both of them. Well, this could be a little bit smaller font, but it doesn't, it's not nearly enough to save the situation. On the other hand, this is like this would be like the only one. I could do this kind of thing, but I'm not sure. Like if I had this per year, like down here, this could work. Or like move this up first, because this is kind of like the priority that it's per year. If they can make the connection that. But I do want to emphasize this kind of this ratio, because it makes it so much more understandable. I'm not sure if I just have it back like up here. I also had like one other idea, was that so I've been thinking about these change things. Could I have can I just take some kind of, let's see where I have these colors here, and what's this orange? Is that the orange that I'm supposed to have, or I'm not quite sure. So there is this now. So if I have this to be somehow like less saturated version of that color, maybe like darker or something. Like this, and then if I use that for the color in here, so let's try um, um, so replace that with this. Like that. Then it kind of like um, so my idea was that this could help me to have um, like a larger palette to do other kind of stuff instead of this indicating this change. But um, on the other hand, like if I want to keep the palette constrained in terms of hues, then like I have to have in the palette like different levels of saturation or brightness for these different colors, and then they might get mixed up. So I had the idea that like this kind of like I don't know, a little bit of like more of a pink orange would be one of the colors. So now that it's if it's already like this might get too close to that one if I have this like this here. So yeah, I'm not sure if that really works. Maybe I've only had like bad ideas yesterday or something. Let's check out if I have some other ideas. Yeah, maybe not really. Yeah, like maybe one thing that I didn't mind was to like better indicate somehow what are the kind of selection areas. So like now when you look at this, it might not be immediately clear that like what in what places can you interact here. Like the arrows might not like, because they're quite small arrows, like you can hit them and stuff like that, but they might not like you might not because they're quite small, you might not like initially understand that okay, you can interact with this, and it's also that they're not so commonly used element in this kind of website, so it's a little bit tricky. So I kind of like want to indicate somehow better like what are the areas. So and this is like one example. Also we had this add button, so how to make it look like that it's that you can interact with it. And okay, let's try here. And I had the idea here that like the clickable buttons, they have like this kind of a bit of a 3D effect thing. Let's see if I can find. find an example. Like they have a little bit of this kind of, yeah, there's this kind of like shadow thing going on. So I'm gonna try to use black color, and no, I don't know to fill. Let's try to make, oh, okay, I don't know what I've been clicking here. Let's try to make this kind of, or it has to be this kind of like a little bit of like shading. So like this, and I'm gonna try to lower and lower. Now it goes a little bit of like this kind of effect. It's not like a perfect now, but something like that. There's this, yeah, it has this. Can I take this? Take that off, and now try to move this again a little bit. So if this looks a little bit more clickable now, maybe. I'm gonna just a little bit bigger. Yeah, something like that. So I want to create this kind of like, but it doesn't really work so well with these input buttons that I have here, or these number buttons. So I have to use a little bit different approach here. Okay. So let's try to put something, but the idea is maybe to have like some kind of square. So I'm gonna try to just have it in black. So I wonder if that, because that's quite often what they have in with the inputs. And I want to have this. I don't want to have like such a curve in these. So now we have here, and we're gonna send it back. Can just try to send it back. Why doesn't? Oh yeah, it's probably that. Is it? Oh no, I have to have this. Yeah, I probably have to have it in here. I'm gonna just try to put it here. So let's try to make it again. This, and gonna send it back. Yeah, something like this. And ignore this these kind of like grids here, they're not going to be visible in the, like these lines that go here, these background lines, they're not in the final product. And I could like consider like leaving the percentage number outside the box or something like that. But I'm not sure if this box, if this works so well. And it also kind of means that I should have then like everything in this kind of black background that's interactable in the, but black is quite neutral color, but I'm not sure if it fits with this overall thing. But yeah, if you look at some websites that has like a number input, they often have it in like there's some kind of like background thing. I'm gonna try if here if it would work to have some other kind of 3D effect. So I'm gonna make another box and I'm just gonna make it gray. So we're gonna like a little bit of reverse these colors. Gonna put it here. It's gonna be a slightly larger, and then send back. And does this make any sense? I don't think this really works. But I'm not sure if it would work like other way around either. I wonder if it getting more trouble with this. Can't I just click? Yeah, what was the idea? Yeah, the idea was, yeah, what if it's just if it was just like this kind of like a outer line there. It that would help to like balance out a little bit that it's quite like this sudden black, it's quite like a heavy contrast. It's quite I don't know, a little bit shocking effect there. I also wonder if I could use some other color. Okay, I'm gonna bring up a web browser. Can I have this? I'm gonna take a look at over here. Oops. Like here they just have like just a slightly different than the background. I wonder if it would be like better to have a little bit of circle edge there. I wonder if there was also like some kind of, I don't think there were any like dark mode examples here, and there's also like otherwise, what's this? I don't think I have seen this one before. It's some kind of like a math formula tool. No, what's the point of this? Oh, can you? Okay. Yeah. Is it? Can you like use like own numbers here? Is that kind of like the point that you can? What do you do with this? I don't know. I'm just looking at if there's some number inputs here. Let's try something else. Yeah, this is yeah. Here it's also it's just like a. I could just use like a like here they just have a like a. I think this is some kind of like a very dark blue and very gray blue that they have here, and they're just using darker tone. It's not black. So that's like one takeaway. And okay, yeah, this is pretty cool. They have like they have it highlighted. If that's like this probably means that it's highlighted like this with this blue hue if it's the last input that you have used. And yeah, I could apply. Yeah, I think I had a little bit similar idea, but this is made a little bit better. So let's try if we have like if you have a bit of different hue. So this one it changes. So I'm gonna pick up the background color here. It's this kind of orange, and then it's already like super dark. Is this like correct? Yeah. So it just go darker. How do you feel this? Is there here? Is there like no? Is this the same color? Yeah. Okay. Maybe I can work with this. Let's go something like that. It's kind of like bad. I think Krita is a little bit bad with this. Some of these like it's, I think the when they have with the text colors, I think that works quite well when they, but some of these are a little bit bad, like yeah, this also this like if you make this square thing with this one, it's like yeah, the color selection doesn't really. Okay, now I have it a little bit more like that, and so here if I want to, I don't want the black background with this. Like, why is there this black background color? Oh, it gets so annoying with these arrows. Yeah, so it's here. So can I change it? Yeah, here this removes it. So now it's just that. It could be maybe a little bit darker, so it's more like distinguishable. Again, like I cannot just like, there's in the top right here there's this like a color wheel. I cannot just like, there's like no easy way to just apply this color that I have here on this wheel. I think I cannot just go, okay, okay, it works. It didn't work like previously. So yeah, something like that. So let's see if we have this elsewhere as well. Let's say that we have it over here. Be like this. This has kind of like the added benefit that this makes like even if I have darker colors, this makes it them easier to notice. But yeah, maybe it's not so important with these with these numbers, because they are like big anyway. So it's more of like this if I have like the smaller text here a bit. But yeah, it could help in here. But these are not like these small numbers that I have. They are not. You cannot modify them. So it's it doesn't benefit so much there. So let's move some of this. Yeah, I'm gonna give up on this idea of, at least this idea of putting these titles here inside. But I'm still not sure about this this having this ratio. But maybe it's better now. Let's actually try out something. So how do we get? First, try to get rid of. Okay, that one. Just gonna take this layer off now. Yeah, let's go back here. Is it here? Oh, I had it somewhere else. It's probably this one. What was the layer? Oh, it was in here. Okay. So if I now if I have it in here, because if I now have this black box or this dark box, so that might help to distinguish that this ratio that's above there, it's not affected by or that you are, it's kind of like makes it more distinct from this thing under it, because it used to be, especially if I have it in the same size, and I kind of like want to have like a big size here. Yeah, it might be enough, it might be too much to have it in this is like also one thing that helps here, that it's that I have it on like not bolded, like especially if the other one is in bold, and so it makes the difference there. I don't know about this one. Like I could have this now on a separate row, and maybe it's just okay to leave some more space. Yeah, I'm not sure about this dark box thing. It's also like, because this title doesn't have the dark box under it, so does it make it harder to for the user to connect this to that one? I'm not sure. So let's have another one here, so we're gonna send this back to make this one, and we could probably like also thinking like, what if I have it just like for these arrows, so I skip the numbers altogether, but I think that's just gonna look weird and it's gonna be harder to understand. So let's gonna move that for now. So let's try, come on, let's try and put this have some kind of highlight line here, and I'm just thinking of using maybe white color, but it's a little bit boring. I could also like, I could use the color here also to indicate like what's the direction. So if oops, yeah, I cannot change this one. Like here, yeah, this is the problem I was talking about earlier. Like, if I want to now change this color, I cannot just like because I have like here, you can see on the like, oh, sorry, I forgot to change this. Okay. I'm very silent, so is it that the volume is low? I can put the volume a little bit higher. Okay, is this better? Not sure if I can put it a lot any more higher, but yeah, I cannot change here the. I have to. I'm gonna go back there, and I just have to pick it up from here. So I'm just gonna try, like, there's this minus 10% thing here below, so I'm just trying to match this with that one. So it's a bit more, it's quite pink. I just try to go like close to that. I have to make it a lot louder. Yeah, I just like, wait a minute, let's see. Yeah, you can increase here. So I'm gonna increase like 5 decibels. I'm gonna increase 10 decibels, and let's see what. Just a minute. Okay, how does that work now? Is that like a, how's that? So, and yeah, we're not gonna need this one. So it might also, yeah, I'm gonna put a little bit more. It might also be that I kind of like, I want to speak in. Part of the problem might be that I kind of like intentionally want to. Okay, now I added. Now it's like plus 15. Like I kind of intentionally want to speak in. Not like whispering, but in like a little bit silent voice, because if I try to like speak like too loud, then I feel that there's more of this kind of changes or like sudden changes in my voice, like and I would imagine that can be annoying for user if it's I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit overthinking about it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks for the help. I have like, at least I've tried like checking out my videos before, like some recordings, but maybe I have like had my volume up like too high. Maybe I haven't done enough of this comparison, like comparing to other channels. So yeah, I should pay more attention to that. Yeah, I don't think this red doesn't really. It's not very good, because I think it's. I should just have like something that's not close to any of the colors that I'm using, but I'm not sure if I want to have any kind of blue thing either, because I really like having this kind of concise color palette. So I don't know, some kind of like, but maybe the white could work okay. So this would indicate that this is the last input that the user has changed, and I used to have this kind of like big green box before, and that's why it's here still, to indicate this. So I should maybe move this percentage sign a little bit further, something like this. yeah, it's a little bit like maybe have the box a little bit bigger or something. Yeah. Yeah, it could be other way around here. Let's see if it's this one. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it could be other way around, especially because you're first seeing those like numbers around, so then it's like easier to kind of like connect that. Okay, easier to connect this small texting to this and this if those years are there first. But I'm not sure if I need this 100 years thing. Like I have the 100 years here also. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe it can be there. So I mean, yeah, if I have like this kind of like background color for these interactable variables, then I would like to like have maybe have the same background color somehow in here to show that it's you can interact. But I'm gonna try add those, like those. Let's put this one also here. This could also be nice to show that if you like maybe make it look less overwhelming for the user, that like there aren't so many interactable, like, because this is pretty much the minimum amount of stuff that's gonna be visible. So now the user might think that, okay, these are, do I have to click on these as well, if they don't first understand that it's only these arrow variables that you are clicking. So this might like make it also easier to understand that it's just sorry, this is the wrong place. Here, that it's so only these things with the dark background that are can be interacted with. Yeah, so the goal of the site is to or the motivation, like it aims to be this kind of website where you can put in like extinction risk probabilities, or like probabilities for humankind to go extinct with like no recovery, or you could also put some recovery thing there, but and that's interchangeable with this survival probability, and then to kind of like show what how much life is there gonna be remaining with those probabilities, like what's the expected amount of people that are gonna be live their lives by a certain moment, and you could go upwards to like million years or even longer. And that's also to show that like if we screw this up in our lifetime, then we are gonna lose like not just our generations but also the future generations if we goes to extinction, and kind of like indicate how much we are losing. And I think why I kind of like want to focus on a lot is this that even if you make small changes, like if you have like this kind of rate of like 0.051% per year, in the next 100 years. And then if you reduce it by like this small amount, like it is like 1,000 of a percent or 100 of a percent. So how much it's gonna like if you go to the last one here, how many lives you are saving? Like it's just okay, here it is. It's a wrong year number here, but by year 3000 you would save like 8 million people, like in expectation, by affecting only like stuff in our lifetime. And if you go even longer like time periods, that's gonna like accumulate, so this will become like could become like billions of people like in expectation or something like so this is like to motivate that we should do a lot of stuff to reduce existential risk from like and there's some whatever like AI or nuclear war or whatever is gonna cause it. Like we should, even if it's just like a marginal effect, marginal like a reduction in probability, it can be like very like long like in the long run like very big effects. That's basically the idea like somehow and this like you can click here everything, so you can see like how, so you could easily see like what are the effects in if you do something. And maybe for this also that you can put these probabilities in the future. I think the main motivation there is that you cannot maybe like through your actions you maybe cannot change these probabilities, but this is to indicate like basically that if we would like die, if the humankind would like go extinct like anyway in like next hundreds of years, then like it's not so worthwhile to save them. There's less future to be saved, but so that's this is like that's a good point about like like I had like earlier, like now I have like here like I'm thinking about in terms of population, but earlier I had just like and I think I have it somewhere still, like this kind of like what's kind of like just like instead of population, it's just like how many years of humanity is there left. So it's kind of like for all the years that we survive, it's kind of like one, and then you count those together. So this population thing is just kind of like the point is there to make these big numbers somehow more understandable, like okay, how many lives you are saving or stuff like that. And you are correct with this. Well, I don't know, like I have become like less and less concerned about overpopulation, but if it's still a concern that people have, then they don't like they're not gonna care so much about like they don't want to have as much people as stuff like that. But like I understood that like it's gonna like around like year 2080 or something, like this is like United Nations projections that around that time we are gonna reach some kind of peak, and then it's gonna like plateau or start decreasing. So maybe it's not like, and this is why I also like have by default to have this like option like 10 billion people in case of no extinction, and then you have this probability that of extinction, and then that's the expected population. But I have like seriously consider now like well, there will be like option to have this. Let's see if I have it here. Yeah, some kind of like that you could click here like expected. Okay, I don't have it here actually. Yeah, it's very tricky. Like what's like a correct, like a good like variable to have there on kind of like y-axis or so to speak, or what are we trying to maximize here. Like one thing that I have considered there is to have so instead of population it could be just like welfare, so it's more ambiguous then, but it's some kind of like a, and then I could still like use this, so that kind of like it would kind of like then include this idea of if there's like overpopulation and people are gonna be miserable because of overpopulation, so you could kind of like adjust, so the welfare in case of survival is lower than if you have like a lot of people, and so this could kind of like, so you could have like either like 10 billion people who feel bad, or 5 billion people who feel good, and so those could be like depending on how good or how bad, like but those could be kind of like equals or something like that. So it could be like and I think the welfare is in that sense also kind of enticing, that it's what they use like yeah, in like economics or like philosophy or stuff like if you look at these utility functions, this is like what they, so then I could have this in this more kind of like a broad like a setting, but I think the issue with using this term of like welfare is that it's kind of like maybe hard to grasp, and be like, even if it's just like the point is just to be some kind of quite arbitrary figure, and we're just like looking at what's causing like reduction or increase in that arbitrary figure, then people are still gonna be like, okay, what does welfare mean here? And it can be very hard to kind of like how do you conceptualize welfare like and especially if I want to reach like I think the target audience is like very broad. It's like a general public in a sense, like because I just want to motivate people to people to take action on this kind of thing. Then the like, but this could be like could have different options here, and maybe I don't know, you can choose, but it is very kind of like important, like what would be like a good default outcome to look at here. I'm gonna make this a little bit clearer. Yeah, but it is very tricky. But if I have like welfare here, I could also, okay, I'm gonna this that would be expected. I'm gonna make this titles a little bit clearer. Something like that. And then again here would be like okay, yeah, this doesn't maybe work anymore. Like okay, it would have to be, I'm gonna leave the old one there, but something like expected cumulative welfare until given year or something like that. This is like a long explanation now. So this is basically what we are kind of like trying to model here. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's the yeah, so the point was that like even if I call this welfare, I could have I could start it off with like what's the population currently. So then it's up to like up to kind of like a user, like if they want to like consider like it would be kind of like that the average it would take like the average welfare or quality of life or whatever to be of like a person living currently to be 1, and then they could kind of like that could help like then to kind of like think of like how massive the welfare can be at different periods. Like say that like in 2100, I think like it's gonna the average welfare of an average person is gonna increase even with all there's a lot of like, well, I'm not sure, but it well, at least if we go like to a lot bigger time scales, I'm not sure about like before 2100 it could like decrease actually, but if we go like after that, I think it's gonna increase, especially if we gonna like we're gonna like move to other planets at some point or especially if we go to longer time scales. But yeah, it's a bit tricky. Yeah, quality of life is it's kind of like it's just I'm not sure if it has to be something that's in a sentence also works well if you think about in adding up stuff like quality of life, sum of qualities of life, like sum of welfare. Okay, it's a it would be helpful if it's kind of like if it's like one word or something like that, because then it's easier to use in sentences and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like yeah, I think I talked about the motivation before, that it's that the user could show like how like how like big the effects can be in our actions, and maybe like clarification also that I'm not like the point of these numbers is to be just an example, and these are not like any definitive numbers, and the user can change these, and then it produces different level kind of like results. Like you could see like because these things will affect each other. So you see like if you change a number here, then you see like how it affects here down the line in the bottom, where we have like these kind of like main outcome variables. So these variables are basically like products of this survival probability and this population in case of if there is no survival. So this kind of like the intermediate at any given year, and this is the cumulative until that year. So yeah, maybe I should use here also like term by. Yeah, I should maybe also like these titles should be maybe a little bit clearer, so that could also make it easier. But like yeah, but this could also be, it could be like one like extra motivation is that it could be nice to gather like prediction estimates from people. Like there would be this option for the user to send their selections, like what do they think to be like the extinction rates or survival probabilities. Again, like the user can choose like from which like direction to look at this from. But yeah, that could be like nice for gathering like the averages, because there's like very little. I'm like surprised like how few of these kind of like questionnaires or like how kind of like few have kind of like studied this or try to like get these estimates from experts. There's like one like very good good study from Forecasting Research Institute. They have like a lot of like people like studied who kind of like answer that. Who would use this? Yeah, I'm not like it's. I would want to this to make this site kind of like that people who are in general, at least to some level, like concerned about future, or who could be concerned about future if they use the site like to motivate the people to be concerned about future also. And maybe if you are concerned about future, then you could you could kind of like show this like mindset to other people by maybe if I manage to make this site kind of like easy to understand, which is very difficult, then maybe the ideal would be that you could just take, okay, here's also like some math that I could be like this kind of tutorial section. It has still some old colors, but like it would be nice that if you could just take a screenshot of the site, and if you share it like in social media or whatever, then the person who sees the screenshot, they would understand what's going on with these numbers, what's going on with the site. So, and they could then get like motivated to so maybe this is for people who want to spread awareness on this kind of like existential risks and long-termism, and through them for people who could be kind of like susceptible for that information, who could be influenced by this this kind of like math to show that like, okay, if I don't do stuff, it's bad. If I do stuff, it can like improve stuff a lot. Like if we are thinking like in very long, like, and even like this is even not like so long time span, but yeah, we are only looking at 1,000 years here, but like I was thinking about putting putting like some kind of like that I have here, the save graphs or data thing to have, and and maybe some kind of share button could be also at some point, but yeah, some kind of these are like here in the left side is some kind of like preliminary like settings or menu stuff. And here I kind of like want to have this time scale thing also here, because I think now if I only have it here, that you can like so if you click this button like add 12,025, it would like produce another set of these inputs here, or these same variables but just for like a longer time span, and then it would also make appear like another button here to the right, which would be like add what would be like 100,000 and 102,025, so that would go to like 100,000 year time scale, but it's not visible here. But yeah, maybe the problem with this is that if I don't have this time scale menu here on the left as well, maybe the user can think that okay, that this is kind of like the last before they even click that okay, this, yeah, I don't know, it's I think it's somehow important to show this. Yeah, maybe also like this, I had this like, I haven't like thought about this too much, this like simulating future scenarios thing, but especially if I have the, let's see, I had some if I use this graph area here, this is just like some like conceptualization for myself, but yeah, I could like put here like use these probabilities, like, because now we are looking everything at like expected value, but I think it would also make it easier to understand that like if you like simulate 10 different scenarios with these probabilities, you would see that okay, like when like with these probabilities, when would like those end of the worlds happen, like in like it would use those probabilities and then it's just like put these kind of like shocks like this, so there would be like sudden death and stuff like that. Yeah, like, because maybe, yeah, it's expected values are a bit tricky maybe to understand sometimes, and they hide some stuff. Yeah, especially, yeah, you could have like, especially like you look at this kind of welfare. Let's say that we have like a population that without extinction would go to like very high numbers, and then we would have like a positive progress, even if there is this extinction probability, even if it's like quite like high extinction probability, it would look like okay, it's every welfare is going up like the expected welfare, but that then it's kind of like maybe harder to motivate people to act kind of like, because there will be some of those cases where it's just like everything goes bad, and like we should in general like there's some like also think about like that humanity, existence of humanity, it's just like yeah, this is just like, yeah, it's gonna be, but this is like very, I was just like toying around with something. I might let's see if I have like I'm gonna show one of the earlier ones that I had in here, like this was like a like some earlier kind of like a thing here, and I also had like this kind of like condensed time scale when there was like it's always like 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, and then like this kind of like real time scale that kind of like if you have a 10,000 year time scale, then the 9,000 last years are gonna be like take the most of the width. But it's kind of like, I think it's good to like maybe to motivate that like there can be like very different extinction rates in different time periods. So that's kind of like I think and I think it's quite like a common kind of like perception that if we survive like next 100 years or so, then it's gonna get a lot easier after that. So either we're gonna like, it's kind of like this Fermi paradox thing that either we are gonna like destroy ourselves, or then like in the near future, or then we are gonna like get out of the earth and gonna like colonize the space and stuff like that, and then it's gonna be at least if we get to go to like settle other planets in general, then it's gonna be a lot easier for humankind to survive after that. Like now it's just like very fragile because we are only living in one planet. Yeah, it could be that not many people are gonna visit the site. That's very like a real possibility, but it's just like I want to do something that I'm like maybe I kind of like figure that this is something that by myself I would have been like if I saw this kind of thing in like 10 years ago or something like that, I would have gotten very interested in it, and it would have like made me care more about stuff or something like that. So maybe I hope that there are some people who could, I don't know, then care more about stuff. And yeah, it's also like I'm not trying to make money out of this, or it's kind of like yeah, but yeah, I would want to have a lot of visitors because I want it to have I want the site to have an impact, and that's it might have like a good impact if like where some persons who are like very like this kind of example that I had before, that some people who could have like a big effect are gonna be motivated by the site, and they then have a big effect. So then it could like be enough for the few people to see the site. But of course, like in those cases, like many of them are already motivated if they found this kind of site. So, but I also kind of like yeah. Yeah, maybe, yeah, and it's also like why I want to kind of put quite a lot of emphasis on how easy it is to understand the site. So like for a new user, so that would kind of like keep people on the site somehow. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's a good point that like there's like we are not gonna be like Homo sapiens forever. We are gonna evolve to something. So maybe like I think like in this long-termism or extinction risk literature, some people talk of humanity or instead of like maybe humankind or humans. So and then they maybe explain that okay, in we now mean that humanity is like humans and their descendants. So whatever humans will evolve to be over time. So that's kind of like maybe kind of like but yeah, it's also like one reason maybe like if we want to have like some kind of like like a discount rate or something that like values this future welfare a little less, because we don't care, like we don't care so much about other species as we care about humans, like currently living species. So if we change to be something else than human, or like we might not care about them so much. It's a good point. Yeah, making videos is like at least like videos in general from this would be quite easy, or making some kind of like example videos, like explaining the site, that because then you can like in the video you can like show that okay, I'm like moving this button now, and look at this probability goes up, and survival goes up, and then like the welfare goes up, like, and show that it goes up like throughout the rest of our times, and not just for like yeah, I think it could be like compared to like this kind of like if I have like this kind of tutorial text, it can do something, but it's also already like, so there's already so much text in the site that it could work quite well to like make some kind of like video examples. I'm not sure about, yeah, maybe YouTube would be my kind of like, but yeah, TikTok could be as well, but maybe YouTube is a lot. Maybe the length of what is kind of like what, so that I can even like explain the basics. I think it needs like a minute or two or something like that at least. Yeah, and it could be like also like easy to make a series of videos also, like to explain some, and especially if I want to go to more, have like a more of this stuff. And I think like one interesting kind of like that I want to expand on is like instead of extinction, like the total destruction of humanity, there could be like a lot more probable is that there could be this like a huge collapse, what's in the literature is often called these catastrophic risks, or like this, so that like population would decrease to 1 billion suddenly or something like that. So that could also be like, if there's like a probability for that, and you could then like change like what's the, if that happens, like how much does the population decrease, or how much does the welfare decrease. So then you could also like make this kind of like expected welfare of those. I think that's also, and that's also like something that's not so, yeah, it's it can be harder to like mentally think about, and so that's where this kind of like, if this site like calculates it for you, it can be like maybe easier to understand the impacts. And I think like one interesting point there is that if there is this kind of collapse, then like what's kind of like the recovery speed from the collapse. So like how, because we lose like all of the, if we lose like civilization, like in kind of like we lose societies and stuff like that, and we go to this tribal, go back to some kind of like tribal stuff and whatever, like post-apocalyptic movies show us, and like it's gonna be like very slow recovery, if there's recovery at all, to get back to this kind of like civilizational state. But you could like choose some kind of like parameter, like okay, that we return like 1.0% per year, like that we like for example like population level or something like that. so that then you could kind of like show that like how big of a gap there's gonna be between yeah, I think that's the like yeah I'm not sure if coronavirus was made in lab, but I think in general like this like I have here like this engineered pandemics. I think that's gonna be like one of the biggest threats at the moment because it gets like as the technology advances, it's you're gonna like need less and less resources to do like some kind of bad stuff like that. It's easier like for terrorist groups or whatever like to make that kind of like a lab virus, and you can like tweak the parameters so that it's kind of like you can make it both deadly and like contagious, because with like those nature-born viruses, it's always just like it's a matter of luck, like how contagious or lethal they are. But if you can like, it's like tweak like every parameter in the virus, then like it's you can and it, yeah, if like one thing you can make like very like long incubation period so that it's hard to like even notice like who is sick or something like that until you have kind of like spread the disease or the virus to other people already. So yeah, I think that might be like for me like the maybe the biggest fear, like I'm not like I think like most people who are like who are about like this extinction risk, I think they often say that AI is the biggest, artificial intelligence is the biggest threat, but I think it kind of like AI kind of like needs maybe they also like imply to some sense that like AI can be kind of like used to help make those engineered pandemics or something like that, or AI can like launch those nuclear weapons or stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not. Yeah, something like that. And it doesn't even have to be like everyone like but it's if you like consider like something like it's a month that you can like start to have symptoms, and so you don't know, and like people like interact with each other so much so that like and yeah, if you look at like COVID and like there's like very few people in the world who kind of like didn't get infected at some. Of course, it has been kind of like returning, but like if you like make it more contagious and make it more, I don't know, like have like a slower incubation. Of course, there's like I think the virus is like you might have to like choose some for the virus, like it's like you think about like video games and you're making a character, you cannot like max everything because the virus kind of like I think it needs like there's like trade-offs that the virus I think this is kind of like my impression that it's just like you cannot, if you get like to be like very like lethal or very contagious, you have to make it kind of like very complex, the virus or something like that. So if it's complex, then it's kind of like maybe the complexity, maybe that can like kind of like reduce the contagiousness, because the complex kind of like it needs more, I don't know, some kind of like resources or some kind of environment to live on. It's like we have like complex animals and stuff, like they need more energy and stuff like that. Humans need a lot of energy, so I think it probably like a little bit of same with viruses. The more complex it is, the kind of like better the environment has to be, and that's it can, maybe it's not so contagious or something. Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but I think there are some kind of like trade-offs, and that's kind of like helpful, but kind of like you can still like even if there's trade-off, you can find like what's the best trade-off to like if you're kind of like this you have like a bad plans, this kind of bad plans, then kind of like you just like try to find the kind of like a virus that has the best trade-off, or make that kind of virus that like yeah, it's scary stuff. And maybe like then like even if it's dangerous, kind of like it's how, so if it's gonna get so easy to make those viruses, so what can we do? Like, so maybe if you recognize the danger, and if like maybe that comes back to like the motivation of the site, that if many people recognize the danger, then it's gonna affect our policy. Like we're gonna set regulations and stuff like on like inspections on labs and stuff like that, like internationally, and like put more focus on this, and like put more focus on kind of like some kind of like virus control and like virus like countermeasures. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not. But in general, like have more focus on these issues and how to kind of like combat them. And I think like one thing also that's maybe a little important is that like I think with the case with all of these like nuclear weapons also and AI, is that as we get more better technologies, it's like you need less resources, and you need groups that are smaller. Like you need less people who are kind of like in this kind of like plan to destroy the world. So I think like one tool there is also that to make people feel less motivated to destroy the world, and I think and that's quite tricky, but I think it's if we maybe one way is that like if we have a less of like income differences or wealth differences, maybe that could affect a lot of this stuff. Like could it affect like people's motivations, or if they're more like hopeful of future, that there will be like good times ahead for everyone. So somehow like targeting those people who are kind of like well, maybe not those people who are like kind of like most likely to commit these kind of crimes, but like if we target like everyone, so, well, I don't know. It's a little bit tricky, and it's kind of like also like hard for me to like if there are people who have these bad motivations, like what are their motives, and of course they are often some kind of like psychopaths or whatever, some kind of like who just have like no matter what you do to them or give them, they might still have those motivations, but if they cannot get any accomplish yeah, like yeah, it's kind of hard. I'm gonna take that. Yeah. But yeah, but the video, it's good to have like some kind of video tutorial thing. It's probably a lot better, but it's still good to have also like, I think like one nice part about this is that these numbers would also, like I have some old numbers here, they would also change in accordance that if you click here, because it might be like easier to have this kind of like readable, and it would be like also nice to have like if you are like very like math inclined, to have like explain out these, like how do we get, how do these connections between different, like okay, here I had like this this kind of like green blue, that was this kind of different kind of like outcome variable that is kind of like here 9.981 years. That would be the outcome, like because it's the in 10-year, this was like a 10-year period. So with this like these rates that humankind is expected to live, but I'm not like, this is kind of like, this would be in some case this would be the best outcome variable, because it doesn't care about how many humans there are. It doesn't try to kind of like estimate the welfare or something like that. It's just like if humankind is or is not, and it's just like calculated as kind of like the sum of, if you, this is like the cumulative number now, it's just calculated as the sum of these survival probabilities until that point in time. So there is, so you can think of it that this welfare, if survive, this would always be 1 no matter what, and then it kind of like calculates like what's then this expected. It's just like basically, yeah, it's, but it's, I think that's just something that this might be, I don't know if this kind of difficult to have like a good wording for this, like how do you but yeah, okay, yeah, here it is kind of like and also I could make these formulas a little bit more at least some examples of, because this is now like not very like mathematic, like I could use here like the, because this is basically 10 yeah, so that we indicate, okay, that the 10-year period shows there, but I'm trying to have like very like generalizable form here. Yeah, and then the tutorial would continue. You could scroll down the tutorial like to show like the next period. I had here before, I'm not sure if I want to have like I had a 10-year period first, but now I have like 100 years as kind of like the shortest time span. Because maybe, I don't know, it could be kind of like clean to have like the 10-year one also. But yeah, there's some. But maybe the 100 years is as a first is kind of like nice in a sense that it's also like well, yeah, it's then it's kind of like one in one measure, like this what's the impact of our generation like the next 100 years, and it's also what's like nearly like now, like maybe like all of the of those few like these existential risk probabilities studies that I have come across, they usually always takes this like 100 year. It's either like 100 years from now or until year 2100. So this would kind of like make it be a little bit better. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end this here for now. But thanks for chatting to me, and thanks for the audio tip. I'm still gonna compare to some other streams, because this was such a big decibel change to what I had before. So, but let's see. I'm gonna at least compare now a little bit more. I'm gonna probably stream again at some point in the future. Not sure what I will be doing next time on this, but something.